Welcome to Oregon Indie Film, a video podcast that shines the light on Oregon's independent film industry. I'm your host, Dawn Sellers. I interview Oregon's independent filmmakers who offer insights into the creative process, challenges, and triumphs of making movies in Oregon. Special thanks to Jessica Geffen at the Soundstage for providing the studio for today's podcast episode. It was a pleasure to sit down with Kaden Waldbauer and Elliot McClafferty to chat about their film, My Friend Named Silence, their path to filmmaking, and their future filmmaking plans. I hope you enjoy this episode. Welcome to Oregon Indie Film. I'm here today with Kaden Waldbauer and Elliot McClafferty. And your first film, My Friend Named Silence.
Yes.
But you've made other films since then.
Absolutely. Yeah. So My Friend Named Silence is our second, I want to say that's our second film we made right after we made a film called Of What Remains, which we recently premiered over at the Kiggins Theater, and which was a phenomenal experience. That was a film we made right out of high school, as our senior project altogether. Because Elliot and I, we've known each other since freshman year of high school, and we graduated in 2022. And
right in the middle of the pandemic.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
I appreciate it. Yeah. No, it was insane, but
Well, let's start with just kind of telling us about yourself.
Absolutely.
So if you want to start, Kaden, and then we'll go to Elliot, and just kind of tell us who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. So Elliot and I, we are local Vancouver, Portland filmmakers who have been creating films and writing films together for quite a while since high school. In 2021, 2022, we were a part of we both went to VSAA, Vancouver School of Arts and Academics.
Oh, nice.
And during that process, when we were there's a class that's called Core Class, where we basically get together and we group up with all the different students in our grade, and we do group art projects and such. And we were a part of a group of 10 filmmakers all together who were like, all right, we're going to make a film. And then him and I, by random draw, really were just put in charge of, all right, now you get to write the script together. And we had never, because we had been friends for several years before that.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy.
That just lined up.
That lined up. And I knew he wrote because he was in literary arts. And I'm not sure if you knew I wrote or not.
Yeah, I don't think I did. I'm just like, hey, you're my boy. Like,
let's do this. This will be really fun. But I had, now backtracking, I've been making short films and writing since middle school, so 6th grade, and making short films with friends on like shoestring budgets and just writing my own scripts purely for the love and joy of writing. So I had a lot of experience with that and doing that on my own. So then us coming together and me having my experience of knowing a lot of the formats and how to write a screenplay, and then him being a fantastic writer, and us coming together and seeing the words in which we created within the story of our group project, we soon realized, like, oh wait, this is really fun, and we got something going here, because we would kind of, and the way we still do it now, where we basically act with each other and improvise with each other back and forth.
It's almost like if you think about a rubber band, when you pull back and then you flick it, it just goes back and forth, and forth.
So that's how you write together.
Yeah.
So
much,
a lot of the times, like, if like we're writing in person and we're on a call, or if we're writing together, we'll have one computer and we'll look at it and we'll kind of talk through, like, oh, maybe they say this, and we'll play the retrospective characters, and then one of us will just grab the computer and just start going and going and going and going, and then the other person's like, yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, and then it'll get to the point being like, well, I don't know what to write, here you go, and then they'll start going, and so it's just back and forth of like, and then
That's
it just
creative.
becomes a very cohesive language with us. So within that project, we then realized, like, oh, we have something going on here, and then fast forward a couple months after that, we go into our senior projects. And Elliot and our best friend Finn Andrade, they had come together, and they went up to me and they were like, hey, we should do some sort of short film together, because Elliot's an actor, I'm an actor, and then Finn Andrade is an actor. So our thing was like, yo, we should make a film together, and we should act with one another. This would be super fun. When they came to me, all throughout high school, I had been focusing, like, I love film, but I was focusing on music. I was a musician, played in jazz band, was in choir, music production. So I was fully thinking, like, well, that's my lane. That's where I'm going to go. And so when they came up to me, I was fully like, I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know, yeah.
I may want to sing or something. I don't know if I want to do it. And then I gave it a little more.
We're like singing the film.
Yeah, just
let's
please
write a
do something.
musical.
Singing this World War II film.
But I eventually was like, no, this would be fun. Let's do it all together. Yeah. Which is looking back on it, is a crazy, crazy, life-altering decision, because then the three of us went all in on creating the story, writing this screenplay, and we ended up in the span of, I mean, it had to be less than half a year, because it was within the school year, and it was in the kind of last several months. But we ended up, out of pure and sheer ignorance, writing a short film script that was 115 pages, not knowing we just wrote a feature film.
Yeah.
Until we sent it over to Elliot's uncle, and he was like, so this is gonna be long. This is gonna be kind of a long. This is gonna be a film. Yeah. And so we were like, oh, well, let's just do it. And then through that, we got a great group of guys who we still work with to this day, like Jake Hammer, Ethan Holdsworth, people who are Elliot's friends and had connected with me and were really interested in the film we wanted to create and the stories we wanted to tell, and also us as people, that they were like, and they're also just so artistic in their own way, shape, and form, that they were like, yeah, let's do it. So as soon as we graduated, that first week right outside of graduation, we shot a majority of that feature film all the way up in Yakult, and we shot a majority of that there with a couple of other locational changes throughout that week. And then that was our first feature film, in which kind of made Elliot and I realize, like, oh, so this is the move, this is it, and this is what we love. And so from then, we've continued to write as many scripts as possible together by ourselves, make our own films, make films together, and then that will inevitably lead into my friend named Silence. But let's hear your perspective first before
tell us about yourself.
So
your side of the story.
So I come from a family that is, my dad ran Division I cross country for University of Portland, and then my mom swam Division I swimming for University of Reno, Nevada. And so I just kind of have this drive to just whatever I'm kind of thinking of, like, I have, like, how do I say this? Like, if I set my mind to something, I'm going to do it. And so I've brought that into every aspect of my life. I'm a soccer player, and so that's kind of taken up a lot of my life, but also doing theater on the side, not being able to get away from that because I love it so much. I started from a young age, about 9 or 10, doing slapstick comedy over at Riverside Performing Arts, which used to be in downtown Vancouver, right over here. And then that continued on to middle school and high school at VSAA, the art school, and I did more slapstick comedy there and more physical comedy. I was trained by the fantastic Annie Aver. She learned from other artists and teachers over in Paris, France, on Commedia dell'arte, like French mask work, Italian mask work, Swiss mask work, and so being able to put on a mask and then really look at yourself and look at others and really say, without seeing your own face, without seeing others' faces, what can you discern from body movements and the way that our bodies contort, and what kind of emotions does that entail from those specific movements? And so I think the humanity and the psychological and the mental aspect of acting has been what's really been driving me forward with this medium. And then when it came to senior year, Finn and I, we thought, well, we love history, so we have to do something with World War II, and so we knew that's what we had to do first off the gate. And then we thought, well, we love movies. Why don't we make, honestly, like a time capsule of our senior year that we can look back, like if it's great, amazing. If it's crap, like great. Like we can just look back on senior year and say, like, hey, this is us, and we tried to make something, or we did make something of any capacity, and to kind of show ourselves, show our kids that this is what 18-year-old Elliot and 18-year-old Finn was like. And and I think that really stems from watching VHS in my room as a kid. I think that was a really big driving point of my creativity. I would watch Raiders of the Lost Ark, Star Wars. I would watch all those classic movies on VHS and seeing, like, well, this is immortalized in 90 minutes, and in 2 hours you can just watch whenever. And so I really wanted to just be a part of that, even if it was like a small sliver of the whole entire expansive universe that is film and television. And so, yeah, it was really just a time capsule kind of perspective on it, and then bringing Kaden into it, just kind of pieced together the puzzle. Yeah, and like Kaden said, I think we really just found the love for filmmaking and just realized this is what we really want to do. Because that week that Kaden said, we spent a week right after graduation filming, and it was waking up at 5 a.m. And it was going until 11 p.m.
Wow.
For a week straight.
So you filmed this whole feature film in 1 week?
Yes.
Yep.
Wow. And who ran the camera?
So running the camera, so Ethan Holdsworth, who's a genius. He's one of Elliot's close friends. He's known him forever. Somebody who I'm very, very close with. We, throughout our whole process in pre-production, because of the ignorance and the lack of so much knowledge, the amount of people who were like, oh, so you'll be the DP? Oh, this is wonderful. And then it was just like a tripping line of, all right, oh, they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. Oh, okay, cool. So it just got to the point, we turned to Ethan being like, hey, do you know how to run a camera? And he was like, oh, well, like, I take photos and such. And I was like, oh, would you be interested in doing this and like learning about this? And he was like, yeah, sure. And he's quite literally the chillest human being on the planet. I think a fire could happen in front of him, and he's like, oh, okay, yeah.
He's been that way since elementary.
So has he been your regular DP then?
He's been pretty much on every single project that we've had since then. He's been on My Friend Named Silence. He's been in our films
in some capacity, whether it's behind the camera. He acts as well, so really just kind of like a jack of all trades. Yeah,
he's such. Even if he was behind the camera, like you said, even just him being on set is extremely valuable, because like there'll be films, we shot a film this past year in which we had a whole boarded sequence of here's the shots that we have for the next day. I'm looking through it, and Ethan's purely there as like an advisory, like helping with the camera, like helping with other things that need to be moved. But I know, like, I want him there, and I want him to like speak out his ideas, because he's the individual where it's like, if you're thinking about, oh, what works for the scene, what needs to happen, and then he'll say the thing that's like, oh, that's exactly what needs to happen. So he came to me, and I had this whole boarded sequence of like all these shots, and he was like, yeah, hey, what would you think if we just did this like all as like a wonder because of this and that? And I was like, all right, this is what we're gonna do, and I just trust that, and it's his ideas are extremely monumentally valuable. Nice. And that was evident since we did this film, in which a majority of the film, because of What Remains, it follows a American pilot named James Sullivan who crashes down into a German-occupied forest and meets up with this rogue German named Axel. And so a lot of the film follows a lot of their experiences and journey trying to escape, all while a lot of wicked and strange psychedelic stuff is happening. And a lot of those days was quite literally, the set was him, I, and Ethan, and Ethan was just completely a one-man crew and would just film it, and
we only had one camera.
Correct.
And so if anybody watches the film and sees conversation scenes, it was literally, okay, we're gonna do your lines and do your coverage, and then we're gonna do the exact same thing and then do mine. It was that was really something.
So is Finn still part of the group then? Is he still working with you?
Yeah, for sure. He is. He joined the Navy right out of high school.
Oh, okay.
So
so he's been kind of busy.
Just a tad.
He's been very busy, but it's really important to keep in contact and keep working and creating with people that you know are super valuable to not only creative mindset, but also just in life in general.
Right.
And so, he did find time leading up to that entrance into the Navy to be in the film, and he's amazing.
He's so good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, so My Friend Named Silence.
Yes.
You filmed that. I watched it. I was wowed. Like, it's very interesting. What was your inspiration for that film?
So that one is it's so fascinating. A lot of the films, when looking back and thinking about how did that come about, how did this idea come about, it becomes a fever dream almost, because even thinking back, it was kind of
a fever dream.
Yeah, it reflects that. Yeah, because I remember one of my good buddies who does he's a musician and does a lot of studio work all throughout Oregon and Portland. He came to me and was like, hey, so I'm doing this music video over at the Baker Bros studio, which is an all-white studio. And he was like, I'm going to do this whole giant shoot. If you have like a short that you want to bring in, or you have something you want to shoot for fun, like, let me know and we can make it happen. And I was like, oh, okay,
that was a gift.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, like, oh, what could happen in that? And I looked at the space, and I don't know necessarily why or how a lot of any of the film came through it. I just simply saw the white room, and I saw a single table, and I saw, through my perspective, me moving forward and seeing a suited individual with long hair just sitting and waiting. And that's what I saw. And I was like, all right, well, who's going over to that table? Let me maybe figure out who that is. And then it just it went from there and turned into what it was. It felt like similar to how acting feels a little bit with Elliot and I, where there's a lot of times where it gets intense to a certain point, you just black out, and you just kind of are in this flow state of catching these ideas and just putting them onto the page, and that's what it felt like, and that's how it became.
Yeah, and what's great about all that is that, we had that opportunity to film there. You get some other opportunities in other films where it's like you have so many routes, so many roads that you could take, but when you have this, let's say, like, that white space, it's like you really have to think, like, what can I do with this? And then you really hone in on like what surrounding that white room, what can I build a story?
Right.
Like, what story can I build?
So you really wrote it around the location then. This empty white room with a desk and 2 chairs.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
So give us the just the quick elevator pitch of that film. Like, if people wanted to see it, what would you tell them it's about?
So I would tell them it follows an individual named Chris who simply goes to visit his doctor to pick up some prescription, but meets a man he's never met before, and is then volunteered to be a part of an experiment an interview-esque experiment that will help the government in one way, shape, or form when it comes to understanding the human mind in relation to crime and other attributes of the human condition. But along with that, there's a lot of hidden truths. There's a lot of underground workings and ideas that are at play and which become colorfully revealed as the film goes on. That's what I would say. The least you know, probably the better.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't want to try to explain it, because I think you just have to see it.
You just got to watch it.
So, is it available for people to see?
Not currently.
Not
That's
yet.
what we're working
Do you
on
plan
right
on
now.
screening it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think
So
you
we're
should,
planning on screening it. We want to show it as much as possible. We're actually very soon we're going to have a booth over at the Northwest Book
Oh yeah,
Fest.
the Book and Media Fest.
Yes,
I'll be
exactly
there too.
right. Hey,
Yeah.
nice. And so the film in which we're talking about is My Friend Named Silence,
Oh, okay.
and bringing that forward.
Yeah.
Nice.
So continuing to show that and spread that around to as many people as possible, and look into screenings, look into future possibilities there, because that film means a whole lot to Elliot and I, and what that represents to us as a duo. And
Yeah, when people ask about that, like what the film's about, I'm like, I try to be as vague as possible.
Right.
Yes.
I'm like a man in trouble who doesn't realize he's in trouble.
That's a
Oh,
good way to put it.
That is a great tagline. Yeah.
Doesn't realize, hey, he's a... Yeah, that's a good way to
Yeah.
put it. Mm-hmm.
That is
may
really
not care.
good.
He definitely... Yep. Mm-hmm. That is indeed.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just the three of you in that room then, filming.
So that crew actually expanded a little bit, which was fantastic. So it's primarily Elliot, myself, Ethan Holdsworth, who was in the film and was one of the camera operators. One of my great family friends, Sean Batterberry, who is a local videographer. Him and his son came over and graciously helped out with the editing, the DP, and brought all of his camera equipment and sound gear and said, hey, let's make the film, purely because I think he's just like, this is a good kid, let's make a make a
So
movie.
nice.
Yeah.
And I think through that experience, and my father Jeff Waldbauer, and my partner Christina Zubrovich was also a part of that set as well.
Okay.
And so they helped out with a lot of the running and PA of that set. And yeah, I think everyone kind of went into that film being like, oh, let's see what we can do here. This will be really fun.
Yeah.
And then as we created it on the day, that's, I think, when there was a different bond that was created there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's before you go, a crazy fact is that the film is a little over 50 minutes.
Yeah.
That was shot entirely in an 8-hour shoot day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and I wondered that as I was watching it,
Mm-hmm.
because it seemed like it was a lot of long takes.
Yep, exactly
Absolutely.
right.
And so, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
8 hours for a feature film.
Yep,
I mean, it
over
really
40.
is. It's an hour long. So,
Yeah, I mean, what really went into cramming it all into 8 hours, but really productive 8 hours, is that Kaden kept scheduling, like, hey, let's meet at an office space. Let's meet at my dad's office space,
Okay.
and let's run this part. Let's run the whole thing.
so you had a lot of rehearsal time.
We had
Big
a
time.
ton of rehearsal. We knew the
Smart.
script back to front.
Yep.
And what I loved about My Friend Named Silence, and of What Remains as well, and also our other films, but especially My Friend Named Silence, is the really intimate set where it's just like under 10 people, maybe even under 8. It's just like, I really love having that close-knit group of people that you just know really well, back to front.
Yep.
And that you can just really rely upon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what makes our sets so special.
Yeah. Well, because I think there's a prioritization of relaxation and care for the actor. I think us being actors as well as directors, I think, really taking the time to care and learn about each of the individual crew members as well as the actors, and
Right.
understanding, hey, what is your process? What do you prefer? What does this role offer you? What is this, what do we need to create here? What do you feel like you need to create here?
I think that's so important, and I'm glad that you guys are learning that early on, because I feel like it really comes across in the film.
Oh, thank
When
you.
you have
Great.
a crew and cast that really works together well and cares about making a quality film. I think it really comes across.
Thanks. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Appreciate that.
So, and the way that you filmed that in 8 hours, I mean, I imagine that that increased the intensity. Like, the film is very intense
Yes.
at times.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so just running through that in 8 hours,
Yeah.
naturally.
We did it chronologically, right?
Yeah,
Bill-
so we
Oh, you
shot
did
that entirely
chronologically,
in sequence.
Yeah, it really builds the intensity. I think that was probably helpful for
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
what was insane was throughout, as Elliot said, the entire rehearsal process was so great for us and eye-opening for us, because that's where a lot of the important rewrites happen throughout the script. So there are key moments that, through our own improvisations, that we wanted to throw out, that's what created a lot of key moments. Like, I remember specifically the moment in which Alucard, your character, says, "Oh, did you ever have a favorite somebody loved?" That was specifically something where you're like, "Oh, what if I said this? What if I added this?"
That's
and
why I'm sorry, those guys.
yeah, you're just like, "Oh, but then it kind of created something interesting from my character's perspective, and I was like, and then it opened up further rewrites towards the end as well that opened up a lot. So I think through that, it helped us explore a lot and really get everything down. So by the point that we were filming it and we had all the shots in order, it was very, especially as the director, it was really easy to go back and forth. It didn't feel like I needed to be very like method in order to like stay in character and then also try to direct.
Right.
Because we had rehearsed it so much.
Right.
I felt so confident in our ability to be like, all right, here's the take. All right, now I'm out of it. Here's what we need to do next. All right, now let's go back into it. And so there's a confidence and an immense relaxation that went into that.
Well, and that's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very draining.
Yeah.
I was very tired, but it was worth it.
I will say, when we do get that shown or released on a wider scale, I just want people to know that we've done so many films together, and most of them are still in the editing phase. But but Chris, Kaden's character is, I think my favorite performance.
Really?
That Kaden's ever done.
That's very sweet.
Yeah.
That's very
Thank you.
nice. Yeah.
That's very nice.
You're welcome.
So tell me about, you guys are new filmmakers. I mean, really, since 22, right?
Yep.
Since high school.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you've made several films.
Yes.
And is there, bits of advice that you maybe heard along the way? Did you learn things in school? Did you learn them on your own? What brought you to this? Like, what brought you to being able to film in 8 hours in one room? Can you pinpoint that? Or stay right there. We'll be back to hear more in just a moment.
Calling all filmmakers, performers, and creatives. The Soundstage is your home for high-quality recording in the Portland area. Whether you're working on an audio or video podcast, voiceover project, audiobook, casting your next film, or need help with that self-tape audition, we offer a professional, welcoming studio space. Come record with confidence and mention the Oregon Indie Film Podcast to get $5 off your next session. Learn more about The Soundstage, the Northwest's premier voiceover and recording studio, at thesoundstagenw.com.
Hey there. If you're enjoying this episode of Oregon Indie Film, don't go anywhere. We've got more great conversation coming up. And if you believe in uplifting local voices and the power of independent storytelling, we'd love your support. Hit that follow button, share the show with a friend, or leave us a quick 5-star review. It makes a big difference. Want to get more involved? Reach out at OregonIndieFilm@gmail.com. Now, back to the episode.
Me to go first?
Yeah, go first. I'm thinking.
Go
Yeah.
first. I think definitely part of it, like Kaden said, is that ignorance of like yeah, we can do this. It's just a movie, and then when it gets harder, it's like, oh yeah, but we're still doing this.
Yeah, we're still making it happen.
So there's part of that. For me, I think it helps, like I said, coming from an athletic background, because your back is always up against the wall, whether it's fighting for playing time, for a starting spot, trying to get a goal when you're 3-2 down. as I did playing soccer, and so it's just that mentality of we're going to get over the line no matter what cost.
No matter what it takes.
Yeah, because I think
love that.
of a soccer game, it's only 90 minutes.
Right.
And then after that you get to go home and spend time with family, your loved ones, your friends. But in that 90 minutes, you got to work. And so when I think of the hard times that we've had on set, the days before last, a couple summers ago, my friend named Silence, which is we had to get the film done in a specific time frame, or even in A What Remains, where it was a super long film, and we realized we need to get a couple more scenes filmed to really just piece together this film. That mindset of we are so close, we may feel like we want to quit, but we won't quit because the product is going to feel so much better,
right,
than how we feel.
100%. And it's crazy you say that, because as I was sitting thinking, you covered a lot of points I was also gonna say. So no, you're good.
You're already thinking alike. Okay.
Oh yes. I put this into three parts. I think what Elliot said when it came to, I think, the athletic point of view is pretty massive, because with my family, my family is very interesting, because both of my parents and my sisters and a lot of my family are very fantastic musicians and artists, very artsy people, but they grew up as athletes and collegiate athletes as well. So there was a interesting dynamic of, we love what it is that we're able to create over here, but there's a competitive edge in which a lot of my family had, in which, like my sister, Ashley, who's an actor over in New York, who's phenomenal. I mean, she started acting when she was probably 10, 11, 12, and doing professional theater over in Oregon by that time, because she was purely like, hey, here's what I want to do, here's how I want to, and there was an edge, and there's a little bit of, this is what I really love to do, and this is what I want to do, and this is super fun. So there's a freedom there, but there's the confidence, and there's the ignorance, and there's the edge of like, well, why not? Well, if I fail, okay, then I'll
what do I have to lose?
What do I have to lose? I'll fail many times, but I'm gonna keep shooting for it, keep doing it, because this is what I love. So I think for both Elliot and I, that's probably what connects us massively, is that we are immensely optimistic in a lot of different ways, where a lot of issues, and I think we both have a very blessed ability to see a lot of problems come our way and understand, and we're able to adapt very quickly, and understand how to adapt, and that has purely come from just through doing it, and through filming, and through realizing, oh, let's try this, let's explore this, but still keeping the freedom and the love for the exploration of what the film is. And so I think that brings me over to where I feel like I'm at currently when it comes to, when I'm thinking about a lot of these films in which we've created, which, like Of What Remains or my friend named Silence, it's become so much more simplified as time goes on, where there's a little bit of a almost Tarkovsky-esque feeling in which I look at the films, and so with that, I think we're in a lot of his writings and a lot of his films, which I'm immensely enamored with, because Tarkovsky has his ability to create a film in which you have no choice but to feel and be encapsulated by the world in which he creates, is something that I think is immensely inspiring to me, and supports a lot of the way I think about narrative and storytelling, and just the ability to unlock memory through image. A lot of it now, in my perspective on it now, is, it's one image at a time. It's a single frame at a time, it's a single shot at a time, and that's what we're going to focus on, is we're going to get this, and then we're going to move on and get that. And so it becomes very, it becomes meditative to a
Yeah,
certain degree.
yeah.
The more and the more you do it. So there's been, and then here's the final thing is that we've been extremely blessed with the amount of extremely smart and extremely supportive people around us who truly know what they're doing. We have an immensely smart crew of DPs, camera operators, sound guys who know what they're doing, that make our job so easy and are so willing to teach us everything and give us so much knowledge.
Yeah, and on top of that, I just want to say I was talking to Kaden about this over the weekend, is that you hear a lot of interviews with filmmakers, directors, people in the movie business saying, you know, everybody was against us. Like, nobody thought we would do this. And I was thinking about that over the weekend. I was talking to Kaden, and I'm like we are, like you said, we are so blessed to have so many people, friends, family, even coworkers, just like really pushing us, like, yeah, you can do this.
Right.
Just, it's the amount of support that we've gotten from doing our films is just, it's immense, and we can't be grateful enough.
Yeah, and I think that even ties into being in the PNW in the Vancouver, Oregon area.
Right. That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Right.
I think that the community, the film community in this area is so supportive.
100%.
You know, we don't have a lot of that. You can't do it. It's more just do it. Like, you know, go make your films. And I love that you both have that attitude, and you kind of started off with that attitude of just go do it. And I really see that, you know, the athletic mindset is helpful. I mean, that makes sense because you do have that competitive edge. You want to do well in the moment, right? And you're going to get through it. You know it's hard work, but you're going to get through it.
Yeah.
So I can see you, and it's almost like you get out of your own way, right?
Absolutely.
Like a lot of people, that's what holds them back, is that they get in their own way and they can't perform, right? As you would if you were an athlete. But you guys have the background to where that isn't your issue. Like you're not in your own way. Yep. You're able to separate that and just let your, you know, just do the work.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you.
I love that.
It's kind of funny how in different aspects of my life, like in maybe situations where I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. And then when it comes to film, I'm like,
oh no, we're in it. Yeah.
So you get in your way in other areas of your life?
Yeah.
But not
Oh,
in film.
for sure. But it's almost
okay,
like,
that's
it's almost like maybe in another world I would balance out everything, but in this world, in, you know, in this time and space, like oh, I'm doing it when it comes to film. Like like other maybe other things, I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know, film. Yeah, we're doing it.
Yeah. Oh no, we got this. We're gonna be just fine.
So what's next for you two? What are you working on now?
sorry.
What's next? You have things that you're editing.
Oh yes. So it is a
Who's
plethora.
editing?
So Elliot is our primary
You're the editor, all right.
MVP editor.
Nice.
So of What Remains, he edited the entirety of all of that, and we did in very close proximity and very close quarters with each other, which is how we like it. It's just it works really well with us. But yeah, so we did Of What Remains, My Friend Named Silence. We're currently editing our third film, which is called Skeletons, and that's edited by Sean Batterberry as well. So he edited My Friend Named Silence, and he's editing Skeletons.
Okay.
We shot two more films after that. One that's a shorter film. That one's probably between 20 and 30 minutes. That one was a fairly short shoot. Shot a feature film by the name of The Days Before, which that was a very important anthology piece for Elliot and I, because that was a very artistically an interesting coming together moment for us, where we were able to, that's the first script in a while in which we wrote together. And we specifically had this bigger vision of, we wrote this anthology piece that is basically these three stories all put in together, in which tell this very, very spiritual story is all I will say about it.
You can choose your words.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then through us making that and us wanting to make it, we realized, with the time frame we have, there's absolutely no shot we can shoot
we
it.
thought like, let's get it done over the summer, and then we're like, as engineers, we're like,
this is not happening. Because as we wrote it, we were like, we need, I don't know where the money's coming from for this, and where's the time coming up for this. So then what we ended up doing is we wrote a prologue for that film called The Days Before, which was more reasonable to our timeline, and which we ended up shooting, which is a grand old time. And that's how we got together and really created the camaraderie and a lot of the connected with the people who we still work to this day. So that crew that was on The Days Before, we made a film about a little more than a year after called Rib Fingers with that same crew. And with that same crew and a little bit more expanded now, we are in pre-production for our next film, which will be this summer.
Nice.
Yeah, so
and
we're
so,
busy.
I have to ask how you're financing these films. Like, are you fundraising? Are you self-financing?
Self-financing
Are you
completely.
doing it on nothing because it's such a small crew?
So a lot of the times, I feel bad in saying, like, I think earlier it was more on, like, a lot of nothing and a lot of just like, hey, please help, and hey, let's make this happen.
That's
now,
how indie film works, though.
Yep.
I mean, it's the reality of it. Yeah.
And now I'm a little more like, okay, I really want to get good compensation and good for the actors, for the crew. I want to make sure everybody's taken care of, everybody's cared for, and so a lot of our
up to that, right?
Yes,
you're building up to that. I love it.
Yeah. So our funds personally that we get ourselves are going completely into that, because we're completely blessed because we have crew members and we have friends with amazing equipment and amazing technological advances that we're able to have. So then our jobs are like, all right, artistically, what other aspects do we need to put into when it comes to costumes, when it comes to PD, when it comes to makeup, when it comes to food, when it comes to catering, when it comes to, all the attributes into it, and making sure everybody's really taken care of here.
I'm always shopping for costumes.
Like,
like I'm always looking like, we could use this.
And Elliot's is extremely massive since like the beginning, because he collects all sorts of memorabilia from like World War I, World War II.
Yeah, my mom says I need like a storage, like container or bin for like my, like a huge like one we can rent like for my war stuff, because that's pretty much where all the costumes came from. A little bit of Finn Andrade stuff, but because he collects too, but. So a lot of my World War I, World War II items that weren't too fragile that we could still use, we used that and of what remains, and so that was a huge plus. I think that was one of the things that drived Finn and I to make a World War II film. It's thinking like, what could we use? Oh my gosh, we have all this World War II equipment. Like, we need to put that to use. Have a second life for this stuff. And that's why we love making, I think, historical pieces for sure.
Yeah, and those are not always easy. But if you've been collecting, wardrobe and props, that's smart to do, because then you have them.
For sure. You can pay for my kids' college, like years,
so
whatever.
Do you guys have day jobs, or is film your full time?
Oh yeah. So we have day jobs that support what it is that we do, because we're currently in process, and our goal is we want to keep doing this for the rest of our lives.
Right.
So we're going to keep making films no matter what way, shape, or form. We have day jobs to completely fund the beautiful mess that is every film that we will ever make. So as far as I see it, that will continue to be the case and continue to go on until if there's other great, fabulous stuff that opens up, awesome. I'm all for it. But I'm feeling good where it's at.
Well, I always like to ask this question, and I am excited to ask the two of you because you're both young and you have your whole lives ahead of you. But what's your big, beautiful dream? Like, if you could do anything in the world, time, money, no object, doesn't have to be film related, or it can be. What's your big, beautiful dream for yourself?
You want to go first? I think you got to go
No,
first.
And you may not know yet, right? Because you are young, but right now, what do you think that is?
I say this is, I think it's a little funny, but it's also very true. I hope Elliot and I are definitely still making pictures together and making pictures of our own. I was telling this because we went and saw a movie recently in which we were the only ones in theaters, and I said, hey, we have at some point we have to just get like enough just to like have our own theater, so we can just do this all the time, and so we can just have our own little private theater, and so we can just watch whatever movies we want. And so whatever big films we make that could fund that would be the moment.
So your own movie theater.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
That would be sick.
Yeah,
I love
that'd be pretty awesome.
How about you, Elliot?
Yeah, I mean, I think a dream for me is to be able to, spend time with people that are no longer with us. I think that's the ultimate dream. Although that will happen for a while. I will say when it comes to filmmaking, my dream is to make a picture that we've been wanting to make for our entire lives, and we finally have the budget for it, and we make it. Not only do we make it, but we make it with the people who we have been making films with since day one. And then also on another note, I thought, hey, wouldn't it be really cool if like all of our friends lived in one cul-de-sac and we had a barbecue every weekend?
And it'd be like Friends, but on a bigger scale.
Right.
That'd be pretty sweet.
And then it'd be like,
yes.
and I'd pick up the phone. I'm like, hey, you want to come over and play some Xbox? Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, so we're filming this thing over here. Hey, so
Flash mob in the cul-de-sac now. Or we have a tunnel and it goes underneath all of our houses.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's our bat cave.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And then like we all have our like kids and they all have slides going through like each one of our houses.
Oh, that'd be cute.
Oh my gosh.
That got me.
Happen. Oh, you're okay.
I'm okay. I survived. Anyway.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Those are great dreams. So where can we find you online? Do you guys have a production company yet? Have you developed your own production
So
company?
we have
We're
our
waiting
own
on an LLC for
for our company, but we're a Melting Mind is our production company, in which every film that him and I either co-write, co-direct, are in together, that is of a Melting Mind.
So do you have a website for that?
Yep. So we have our Instagram page. We have our own individual
a.melting.mind is our Instagram.
Oh, okay.
Exactly right. So we have our Melting Mind Instagram page, and then our own individual Instagram page where we promote our individual and films that we do together, as well as update on future screenings and future projects that are coming out as we go.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, thanks so much for being here today.
Yes,
absolutely.
Thank you for having us.
I'm super excited for you both. I mean, I think you have great energy and you're really doing it.
Yes,
yeah.
Thank you so much.
That's what it's all about.
Thank you.
That's what it's all about.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks so much for listening. If you would like to continue the conversation with Kaden and Elliot, connect with them on social media. You can find them on Instagram at A Melting Mind or on their personal platforms. Those links are all in the show notes. Watch for the screening of My Friend Named Silence and catch up with them at the Northwest Book Fair and Media Fest on June 27th at Clark College. You'll find me there also. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to leave a 5-star review and share it on your social media. It helps us connect with more indie film lovers. Be sure to check out the Soundstage in downtown Vancouver for all of your voiceover, self-tape, and podcasting needs. Thanks again for their support. Would you like to support the podcast by becoming a guest or a sponsor? Reach out at OregonIndieFilm@gmail.com.